So let's start. Paul,
Yeah,
thank you very much for doing this. Thank you very much for sitting down with me. I read
thank you.
your story on meatheals.com, which is the website that Dr. Sean Baker runs and where he collects different testimonials from people who have experienced great results by eating only meat. And you have contributed to that website, and you said something very interesting. You were telling basically your story about asthma and what the carnivore diet did for your asthma. And so, if you could tell us a little bit about that, like how long you've had asthma, and what all the different things that you were doing to manage it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, it's like the way I the way I the environment I grew up in, the time period. I was born in 1979 in October. So like all through the 80s and through the 90s and all of that. Uh, So I had my first asthma attack when I was around about 4 or 5 years old. I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't breathe, looked like a smurf in the face. Got to the emergency at the hospital. They say, "Yeah, congratulations, your kid has asthma." And nobody in my family has ever had it. No, nothing on my mother's side, nothing on my father's side. I never heard of anybody in my family tree has, so I was like the first one ever to have asthma. And so I got medication. I took the medication, but there was like no talk about how to approach the problem and what to do to, get rid of it. And if you can get rid of it, the only thing, the only there were only like two things. If you got it when you were a kid or an adult, it would be like that would be a less bad thing. But then if you were born with it, like if you were like an infant and then you came out of your mother and you had asthma, then you was like you're gonna have it for life. That's kind of the story. That's what they talked about, but never talked about anything about food or anything like that. But yeah, try to do some exercise, take the medicine every day, and when you grow, you might, if you're lucky enough, you can grow out of it, or you can, if you're lucky enough and you don't smoke, which I don't, I never did. But all these kind of like generalizations. So there was not like really okay, like what causes asthma? What does it come from? How does it, what makes a person get asthma and all that? Nothing like that. I've never seen any information on the internet. I never heard a doctor talk about it. Nothing whatsoever. It's like, okay, we're going to run some tests. You have asthma. Here's the medication. Bye bye. And it's like, what the hell? It's really kind of crazy that
Yeah.
nobody talks about it and what's going on.
Well, that's really interesting that you're saying that there is no history of asthma in your family whatsoever.
Not that I know of.
Now, did you receive antibiotics when you were a kid before you were diagnosed with asthma? Do you know that?
Mm, mm, no, I don't. I don't know that. I don't have that information, so I can't say yes and I can't say no to that.
All right, so then you started taking different medications and they were helping, right?
Yeah, they were making me, like functioning normal. Because when you have an asthma attack, my kind of asthma, it was part of the lung and part of the throat. Everything was like the lungs was like collapsing, and then the throat was like collapsing. So I had to take medication for both of that. So I took one medication to open everything up all the way down here to here. Then the other medication I had to take that would have my lungs, like working 100% no matter what I did. So I see it. I always saw it as like a handicap. I wasn't 100%. I was if I didn't take that, I could like die because if you can't breathe, you're like it's that simple.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I can imagine that an asthma attack, it can absolutely feel life threatening. I mean, it probably can be life-threatening if you don't have the medication close by. Um, okay, so you were taking different medications, and you were managing your asthma with those, and you were able to
mm,
function. And but so why you mentioned in that post that you were taking different medications. So why was that? Did they stop working after a while, and then you had to switch to a different one, or were you looking for a better medication, or what was the reason?
no, the different, like I said, I want to open up when I was long term, and as the years went by, they came up with a new kind of medication, a new asthma inhaler, and at the end, like I think nowadays, the newest medication, it's like two or three medication put in like in one. So you get all the benefits from one. So instead of having two, three, or maybe even four, like you have to take when you just take one, and it's a part of that. So that was, I didn't choose it myself. I didn't read up about it. I just went to the doctor. They did some tests and say, yeah, you still have asthma. You're on this level. Here's the prescription. Here's the medication. Now go and buy it. That was like it. No, the only positive is like the older I got from being a kid to being a teen to being an adult was like either the asthma was like steady or it got, like a little bit better, but I still had it, still had to take the medication. So,
I see.
and the one thing that I didn't know about until 2017 when I did my last checkup was that side effect of the asthma medicine, it makes you like your hands are going like this. And I remember as a kid, I was always like hyper. I was like almost like I have a HDD or something like that. Like that sense, I can never sit still. I was always, well, I want to do something. I want to have something. You know what I mean? That's a side effect of taking the asthma medication.
I see. I didn't know that. So you were always jittery from the meds.
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of interesting because I always been I always been active. I always want to be outside with the other kids. I always want to play football and doing something. But then again, I couldn't do too much of it because I would get an asthma attack. Then I would have to take the asthma medication just to get from like a minus to plus minus zero to be like any other kid. So that was you know but I always want to, oh, I want to be outside. Oh, can I go outside? It's nice weather. Oh, I want to do something. I want to play ball. I want to be in the woods and, take a bike ride or go on a skateboard or anything like that.
Mm.
So
Okay,
I was
so
always active.
so although the medication were helping you, but you would still have a couple or two or three attacks per year, right?
Yeah, last in 2017, I did have at least two episodes. Either I was somewhere, I was eating, so I don't really know what caused it. I just know that I was like, and since I've had asthma for so long, I know when I need to take medication. I know the symptoms. I know that I'm not just like if I've been running or something, like this is serious. It's time. I need medication. This is not going away. There's something wrong. So yeah. But since I, but since I, and yeah, like the end of 2017 and through all of 2018, when I switched the diet, no plants, no veggies, no fruits, no fiber, no starch, nothing, just meat and eggs. I haven't had one episode, not one incident where I have to take the medication.
This is astounding. So, how did you discover the carnivore diet, and why did you consider trying it?
Well, I did actually watch when Dr. Sean Baker was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he talked about it. But he didn't talk so much about the health benefits of it, like asthma and stuff like that. It was more like, it's good for you, chronic pain go away, and you get to lose weight and stuff like that. So then I watched that, was interested in it. Then I think I looked it up something. Yeah, the main reason why I tried it, because I was at that time in 2017, I was just under 100 kilos, had about like 12 or 13% body fat, and I've been going to the gym 5 days a week, and I still had no like physical results of it. And all my life, since I think I was about 20 or 25, something like that, I started eating like an athlete, like a bodybuilder, every 3 hours, made meal preps and all that, and try to eat like the pyramid. You have your fibers and your meats and fats and carbs and everything like that in every meal. And yeah, I still had asthma, still had psoriasis, some kind of psoriasis like eczema, still had problems sleeping, still was overweight and big percent body fat. So the main reason why I started this carnivore and wanted to try it was to lose weight, maybe get lean, maybe get a little muscle mass. And then all of a sudden, I notice all the health benefits, like my asthma disappearing, my sleep apnea disappearing, and all of that. So that was like a side bonus.
What about the psoriasis? Did that also get better?
Yeah,
So
that's
where did you have the psoriasis outbreaks? Because I also have psoriasis, well, had, but where did you usually, and how did that manifest in your case?
it started around the same time that I got my asthma attacks. And I had it all my life, ever since I was a little kid. I had eczema slash psoriasis. Some people will say it was eczema, but it looked like psoriasis because it was that severe. So I had it. It went from place to place, but the most I've had it, and for the longest time I had it, was either on the inside of my thighs or the back of my legs, going all the way from the back of my knees all the way up to my butt. And no matter what I tried, I mean, I went to doctors and they gave me prescription like ointments and lotions and all of that, like heavy shit. There's a warning label on saying if you use this, don't operate heavy machinery and stuff like that. And they gave me that ointment that was for adults, and I was like a teenager. That's how like bad it was. And I put it on, and it would burn. It would like feel like acid on my skin, and it didn't go away. So I've had that all my life. I struggled with that eczema, psoriasis thing. Then it went away from my body completely. Then it came back. Then I had it like here, like this whole area here on my arms. And when it's hot outside, you want to go, you want to have a t-shirt, a tank top, or something like that. But when you got that, if too much sun, it's gonna burn, and you don't want to show it off because it's not a party trick. It's kind of gross. So, and tried all kinds of different things, but I did notice later on, like a few years ago, that if I don't eat fruit and vegetables that are red, it kind of goes away. It's like it goes down a bit and then it and went away. So if I don't eat anything like I don't know, like berries that are red, or tomatoes, or ketchup, or spicy food, So I noticed that a couple of years ago, but since I went carnivore, completely gone, never came back in any way, shape, or form.
That's fascinating. So, one thing that also often comes together with psoriasis is joint pain. Joint pain. So many
Uh,
people have arthritis.
mm.
Did you also have that problem?
No, I never. Those were like the only problems I had. I never had any joint pains or aches. I never had any problems with my gut, with my stomach or intestines. None of that. Never had it. So kind of lucky that the only time I have aches and pain in my body was if I've overdone it in the gym. I was sore from muscle soreness for a day or two. But no, never had any elbow pains or knee pains or like hips or
Mm-hmm.
neck, nothing like that ever.
Okay,
So
great. Um,
yeah,
okay, so now many people who go carnivore, they first went keto or paleo, but you, it seems, you went from the standards, following the nice pyramids diet, as our governments tell us that it's healthy. So you went straight from that, probably healthy whole grains also and all that stuff, right? And so you
yeah,
went from that straight to carnivore, is this right?
almost. I did for a couple of years. I did not eat like starch. So I didn't eat potatoes. I didn't eat rice. I didn't eat corn flakes or any kind of that. No, nothing like that. And I didn't eat bread for a couple of years. So I tried for a while that low carbs, high fat diet, but I never knew, and nobody ever told me that fruit and vegetables are also carbs. So I thought that if I just don't eat potatoes and don't eat rice and don't eat pasta and bread, like everybody knows that that's starch, that's carbs. But there's also fruit and vegetables that are like high in carbs, but that's okay to eat. Like, so I tried that for a while, and then I tried the kind of keto ish, like a lot of what's it called, well, like a lot of fats, avocado, heavy cream, milk. I tried eating that for a while, but I didn't see any health benefits like I do now when I only eat meat, and I do eat some dairy, like a little bit of cheese, and can I have a glass of milk because I don't have any allergic reaction to it with my stomach, anything like that. So, but like I said, there's no fruits and no like no berries, no seeds, and none of that.
Okay, so let's go through what you eat in a day. So what exactly, like what type of meats do you eat? Is it beef? Is it pork? Is it lamb? Or what
Yes.
exactly? All of that. Okay. So yeah, so walk us through it. Like, do you eat one meal a day? Do you eat 3 meals a day? Or tell us more about that.
Well, the first through the whole 2018, I only did pork, and I only did like like steak. I tried more or less the whole pig, not the nose and not the tail, but ribs and bacon and all of that normal stuff.
All that good
And
stuff.
I, yeah, pork ribs and pork chops and all of that. So that worked very, very well. I had no problem whatsoever. I went to the toilet like I'm supposed to. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. I don't take vitamins, nothing fiber, like fiber vitamins or fiber pills or anything like that. And I still go to the bathroom every day. So I don't understand that part. Well, when people, experts and all of that stuff go like, oh, you need fiber, oh, you need to eat fiber and you need to drink coffee and that. But no, you don't. If you can't go to the bathroom and do your business, there's something wrong with your stomach and there's something wrong with your intestines. That's just it. So through a whole year, I ate pig, and I since I've been like over 30 years, I've been eating every 3 hours. So that was like between 5 and 7 meals a day. So I looked at, okay, like how much am I eating throughout the entire day? So I thought like, okay, I never done fasting. I never done intermittent fasting, nothing like that. Eating every 3 hours, eating blah, 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 like, like a pro athlete, like bodybuilders and fitness. That's the whole thing that they're always talking about. Like, oh, you need to eat everything, just like a little baby, kind of. So like, okay, I'm gonna try this new thing. I'm gonna eat only meat and eggs. That's new. So why not try a different approach on how often I eat and how big the meal is and stuff like that. And since I'm into fitness and bodybuilding, I want to try to, build a physique and see how that goes. So I looked at how much protein are you getting from meat and from eggs. And it's the standard thing, like you get about 20 grams of protein for every 100 grams of meat. Like, okay. And then I looked up how many grams does a male man need in order to either obtain muscle mass or preserve. If you get up to a number, you're going to stay there, or if you want to go higher up. So, okay, so I need anyway, about 2 grams of protein for every 1 kilogram of body weight. And right now I'm at 86 kilograms. So protein is up like 200, a little bit over 200 grams of protein a day. So yeah, so I did some light calculations and okay, I'm gonna try this new thing, but I only eat meat. Why not try this one meal a day? So 2018, I started. I eat at least 1,000 grams of meat in one meal, and that is enough meat. So if you would like slice it up to like 5 or 7 meals, you would get X amount of grams of meat. Like, yeah. So I eat about 5 to 7 meals in one meal. But it's not always that I do it in one like in one sitting. Often I do it, but I feast, then I fast. So I have a window, a time period where I can eat. So let's say it's from 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock in the morning. In that time period, I can eat whatever as much as I want, whatever I want. And then from 12 until 6 o'clock the next morning, I fast. I only drink like water and stuff. And I've been doing that for like, yeah, in December this year. I've done it for about 2 years now.
So 1,000 grams, so 1 kilo. So for our US viewers, that's a little more than 2 pounds
Yeah,
that you're eating per day.
yep,
And any kind of meat, yes. So
yep,
it can be pork. So is pork still the main part of your diet, or have you now switched more to beef or chicken or some
yeah.
other?
I switched more. The first year was like pork. This year it's been like 80 to 90% beef, but still, every now and then if you go to the store and half price off, something like that, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna eat it. To me, it doesn't matter because I didn't notice any difference and I didn't see any difference between pork and between beef. So
Yeah, that's interesting because some people they do react badly to pork. They say that it does fuel their inflammation, and some people
mm,
also have that same problem with eggs. But you say
mm,
you didn't see any problems with neither pork nor
oh,
eggs and are fine. Um, okay, great. So now you're weighing 86 kilos. So you lost
yeah,
14 kilos. Uh, so this is around 30 pounds that you lost. Um,
something like that.
Yes, I saw this very impressive picture that you uploaded on Skype, that
Thanks.
six pack. I understand that's yours.
Yeah, that's me. That's like a month ago.
Okay.
And
So,
one thing I wanted, I kept that physique through a whole year by just eating meat and eating one meal a day. Because I did a in-body test. You go on a scale, and it does like it sends electronic signals throughout your whole body, and then you get a piece of paper. I have it on my Instagram. Like the first time I did it, 2018, then I did it now in 2019, about roughly the same. It was the same date, both of them, but the time. So there you can see everything. You can see how much body fat you have, how much visceral fat you have, how much muscle mass you have, and all of that. So that's like a complete. So I know like what, not only what I look like in front of a camera, but I also have it, like the statistic of it. So at the end of 2017, I weighed about 98, 99 kilograms and had a lot of body fat. Then I went the carnivore diet. Then what was it? January, February, I think March of 2018, I did in body test, and I went down from 98 kilos to 86. And then a year later, I did a test again, and here's the fun part. The day I did the first test, I ate steak and eggs, a total of 1,300 grams of food, one meal, and that was about 4 hours before I did a test. Now, normally when you weigh in and when you do a body test like that, you fast for 24 hours, to look as best as you can and to weigh as little as possible. I actually ate 1,300 grams of food like a couple of hours before I did a test. Did a test, and it shows 86 kilograms, 6.6% body fat. A year later, on the same date, roughly the same time, I did the same thing again. 1,300 grams of food, steak and eggs, went to the facility, did the test, 85. I weighed 85 kilograms and 6.5% body fat. So eating one meal a day, just steak and eggs, I kept about the same weight and same muscle mass. So that's pretty cool.
okay, so just for comparison, you mentioned earlier that your body fat percentage before you switched to the diet was 10 to 12%.
Yeah.
So you went from 10 to 12 to 6.5%. So that's pretty good. Would you like to improve that, or are you happy with those numbers?
Uh, I yeah, I'm happy about it, and there's and that part is also interesting because when you see athletes in the fitness world, in the bodybuilding world, when they're under 10% body fat, when they go down to 6 and 5 and 4, when they're competition ready, they feel like shit. They're always tired, and if you ever see an interview with a professional athlete, they're going to tell you that, oh, my worst time was before I got on stage and something like that. But for me, I didn't even know that I was down to 6%. I just ate and went to the gym day in and day out, ate and felt okay. I had the same amount of energy. Like nothing has changed for me. Like I noticed, like, ooh, I'm getting like nothing like that happened to me. So if I'd never done the test, I would never know. I just like, okay, I got a six pack and I'm looking good, and I'm gonna be 40 this year, so that's why I'm doing this like 40 and fit thing.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, looking really good. So maybe we can show your pictures. If you allow me, then I can edit it into into the
Yeah,
video.
sure. Go
And
ahead.
there's the kitty cat. So, okay, so when people hear that you eat only one meal a day, people
Mm.
imagine, wow, that must be really hard. How do you do this? I mean, the hunger must be excruciating. You must have such a good discipline. So tell us, is this really difficult? Do you have a lot of hunger? How do you do it?
Well, the eating part is like no problem because since I have this window that I eat in, I can, like take 400 or 500 grams, eat that, then rest for a while, then come back, then eat, as long as I keep it within this time window. So then I fast for like 16 to 18 hours. So that's no problem. But usually I, take 500 grams of meat, I eat it, then go out into the kitchen, take another 500 grams, and I weigh everything. So I know exactly how much I'm getting of stuff. And
Okay,
all,
I'm sorry. So I'm
but
okay. I must have misunderstood you. I admit there was one moment where I clicked because I wanted to calculate how much 1 kilogram exactly is in pounds. Okay, so all right. So you do intermittent fasting. So you do more
yeah,
than you eat more than one time a day. But sometimes, oh, did you say that sometimes you do put like those 1,000 grams into one meal and then that's all you eat. But sometimes
yeah.
you eat several times a day. Is this right? Or
Well, yeah, both yes and no. I have 1,000 grams of meat that I eat, and sometimes I do it like in one sitting. Like I have a plate with the food on, I eat that at one go. But sometimes, if I haven't been active enough or had a bad sleep or something like that, I might eat 500 grams, then I might wait like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then I eat again. So,
okay. All right. Well, if
that's
you okay, if
so
you eat
that's what
it
I call. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, if you eat it like 20 minutes later, then that still counts as one meal. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm calling it, like one meal a day, because it is
Okay,
still in one sitting. It's
I
not
see.
like I wait like 2 or 3 hours for my next meal. I know I have like it takes about 40 minutes to 60 minutes total, but most times I do have it in like one scene. I actually have two videos on my YouTube channel where I filmed myself, so like evidence where I did prep the meal. I weighed it so everybody can see how much food there is, how much egg there is, how much meat there is, and I sat down in front of a camera just like this, and I started eating. So
Okay, so what about the fat content? Do you look that you take more fats, that there's a lot of fat in what you eat, or how do you keep this with the fat?
well, the fat for me isn't my primary goal is the protein. That's the primary goal. So I mean, if you eat bacon and if you eat like sausages and stuff like that, there is a lot of fat in it, but that doesn't make me like, ooh, no, 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 nothing like that. I don't have a problem. I, the few times that I cook my meals, I do it like in tallow, animal fat and stuff like that. And sometimes if I feel a little peckish, I could take like a bite or two of animal fat, and then it goes away. So
Hmm.
it,
So,
it's kind of it's a bit similar to that keto coffee. You have a cup of coffee, you take either butter in it, or you take like what's called coconut oil, and you drink that, and then you're good for a couple hours. But I don't drink coffee, never had. So I just take the fat and eat a bite or two, and then I'm
hmm
good.
hmm
So,
um,
but there was one thing. The latest thing that I did a week ago, I did another test, in body test, and right now I'm up again to 86 kilograms, and I'm up to about 10% body fat. But I did 8 weeks of drinking 24 eggs a day, raw,
Wow.
besides the meat. So for
Okay.
8 weeks straight, I ate a kilo of meat, drank 12 raw whole eggs, 12 of them raw. Then I waited a while. So I split those 24 eggs up into 2 shakes. So 2 shakes a day. So I did that for 8 weeks, and all in that time, I gained 1 kilogram.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
see.
it. And that was like 4,000 or maybe more, but at least 4,000 calories a day. So,
Okay, but when you
and
get when you go and buy a steak, you don't necessarily look for the fatty cuts.
no,
No, no. Okay, well,
no.
if you use tallow when you cook it, then you also get
Yeah,
the fat from that. I see.
yeah. And I use and I, it's kind of cheaper to take, minced meat and ground beef and stuff like that. So, and there's different kinds of. It says on the package like, oh, this has 10%, this has 20%, or some stuff like that. So I just look at, oh, what's good today, what's cheap today, what am I hunger for? Do I want some pork, or do I want some beef? Or right now I'm like trying lamb, so I'm trying minced lamb, ground lamb, and some lamb chops. I never had it before, so
What about dairy? So you mentioned you do eat dairy and you're doing fine with it. How
yeah.
often? How often do you eat it and how much?
Uh, well, that almost every day I have like 2 or 3 slices of cheese. Right now, there was like an extra price on blue cheese, so I bought a couple of them. So I take, like a couple of slices, a slice or two. I have that with my meat, and sometimes I just eat it because I like the taste. But I don't get any rash from it. I don't get any joint pains, no stomach problems, nothing. So,
That's great. You see,
yeah.
I haven't eaten dairy for like 9 years, and then when I switched to eating carnivore, I started eating cheeses and cream. Oh my God, I started eating so much cream. It was out of
Okay.
control. And then, what happens after a couple of months of doing this, my psoriasis patches started coming back.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
still 100% carnivore, but
Yeah.
my psoriasis came back with the
Okay.
with the dairy. So I stopped the dairy, and then
Uh,
within 2 or 3 weeks, the psoriasis patches went away.
okay.
So that's interesting. You're saying that you have psoriasis, but you're doing fine with the dairy. But
Yeah.
I can do it. Um,
Okay.
so what
Some
about?
some some people get the same, some people get the same side effects from dairy as they would from coffee, from fiber, like the stomach and intestines. It has to do with the milk sugar and then the casein protein. And in some cases, it can even have to do with the animal itself, like the farmer, like where did the animal come from? How did it live? Like how much shit did they pump into the animal, like antibiotics and stuff like that. So, uh,
Yeah,
there is a lot of thing to think about.
I do think it's the sugar and the dairy
Mm.
that may be the problem in my case. Yeah, I definitely think that that's what it is. But what about organ meats? Do you eat liver, brain, kidneys, any of that fun stuff?
Every once in a while, I did try liver, and it was okay. I got no problems with it. But here in Sweden, it's kind of hard to come by, organ meats. You don't find it in a general like store. You have to either go to a butcher shop, which hardly exists here in Malmö, or you have to know someone. It's kind of hard to get compared to, like bacon and pork chops and stuff like that. The ordinary meat that they have at the grocery store. So, but I so far I haven't experienced anything that that, oh, maybe I need that kind of meat. I haven't had any depletion or deficiency of anything as long as I get meat. And I think it has to do with the volume, that since I eat 1,000 grams, a kilo of meat, I think I get enough of all the vitamins and nutritions and all of that stuff.
So, talking about depletion and so forth, have you had your blood tested? Have you had your cholesterol tested, and all the other standard numbers? Did you check? No, you didn't go to
No,
your doctor and say, "Hey,
no.
doctor."
No, actually, I've never done it. So if I do it, then it will be like the first time, so I have nothing to compare it with. So it's kind of like, okay, because to me, you go to the doctor and you go to the hospital when you are sick, but you don't know why. If you get sick and you're sick for quite a while, then you need help. You need someone to look at you and try to figure out what's wrong with you and try to fix it. But since I never had any of those issues or symptoms or like that for like almost 2 years now. So, and I don't do any supplementations. I don't do any multivitamins. I don't do any protein powders, nothing like that. So,
What about the doctor that you would go to have your asthma medication prescribed? Like, has he called you up and said, "Hey, Paul, I haven't seen you in a while. What's happening?"
no, that's also the fun part, because normally when you have asthma, you would get, like a call, like an email or a mail, like once a year, like, hey, it's time for your annual checkup, So you would make a date of it and then go to the doctors and say, yeah, you still have asthma. Here's the test result. This is how much, air you can have in your lungs and, progress. But since I did my last test in 2017, I was given a paper by the doctor saying you don't have asthma anymore. But still, I had like 3 episodes where I needed the medicine. So technically, I was cleared of asthma in 2017. Still had 3 episodes where I needed to take the medication. But in 2018, when I transitioned to like 100% carnivore, and up to now, like 2019, at the end of 2019, nothing, not one episode.
So, what do you say? Because critics, they may listen to you and they may say, yeah, he probably grew out of it. He probably would have
Mhm.
gotten rid of the asthma even if he did not go carnivore. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I can prove me wrong. that I could say the same to them as they can, there's no, can you prove either way? I mean, I can't really prove that the carnivore itself did it, but on the other hand, can anyone else prove me wrong that I would have grown out of it, or that I was at the end of my, that, there's so many, shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if, that you can't just go and say, well, hey, it would happen anyway. How do you know it would happen anyway?
Right.
I know that the way I live, if I the way I've eat for 30 years, still had asthma, switched it around, now I only eat meat and eggs, been doing it for 2 years, and I didn't have one episode. What
Mm,
does that tell you? How does
right.
that sound to you?
Well, and also the psoriasis patches disappeared.
Yeah,
Right. Well, but
and sleep apnea.
so you said, um, okay, that there was a transition period where you cut out carbs and you cut out
Mm,
bread and you went kind of keto-ish.
yeah,
So
and I still had asthma.
that's still asthma, but is it possible
Mm.
possible that in that time, because I can imagine that cutting out bread, that it did improve your asthma symptoms, because
Absolutely.
there's so many reports from
Mm,
kids and other people who say when they cut out gluten or reduce
mm,
gluten, that their asthma symptoms improve dramatically. So it's possible that this also like caused your asthma to like gradually improve, and then when
absolutely.
you when you went full carnivore, it's the
Mm,
symptoms completely disappeared.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Because I noticed that every year I got a little bit better. So I went down on my medication, from taking it 2, 3 times a day to taking it 2 times a day to taking it once a day. But in the end, I still had asthma. I still had to take medication. I still had to, be aware of. I can't do too much of this thing because it's gonna restrict and be hard on my lungs and all of that. But now it's like it's like almost like I never had it. So, but absolutely, I mean everything. Some experts. I was in the newspapers in the beginning of this year when I talked to some reporters about just like I'm talking to you now about this, and they talked to some experts and they talked to some medical staff, and they said similar things like, yeah, it's a elimination diet, that probably some of the food of the plant-based caused asthma, and that I should try to eat some things and bring some things back. But I'm like, why? There's no reason for it. I get everything. Like, if you want a multivitamin, just eat an egg. It has 13 vitamins in it. And if you eat 300 grams of whole eggs, that's roughly about 6 to 8 eggs. You get the daily recommended dosage of 13 vitamins.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's like an ultimate multivitamins. So why do I need to go to the store and buy like a can or something like that with multivitamin pills when I can just eat eggs?
Mm. Right. So, have you had any negative reactions from family and friends telling you, "What are you doing? You're killing yourself. You're gonna have a heart attack next week."
No, not really. Some friends have, what are you doing that? Whoa, like that. But no, I've had not have any like real backlashes. I haven't had like an intervention where a group of people surround me and say, oh, what are you doing? Oh, like I'm
Paul,
a
we
junkie
need
or
to
something
talk
like
to
that.
you. We need to talk to you. Um,
Yeah. No, they've been mostly like positive and okay, listen, you do your own thing and good luck with that. The only problem that I've had is when I've talked to my friends and family about it, and hey, are you interested in this? This is what it done for me. This could be good for you. They're like, no, I'm good. No, I'm okay. No, like they're scared of it and they don't really believe it. And so
what about the other bodybuilders and other people in the fitness scene? Have you inspired some of them to follow your lead, or not really? Have they?
I really don't know. I've not been approached by anyone like that, but some, every I never had a negative comment on my Instagram page like, "Oh, you're eating too much meat," or I've never had any death threats or nothing like that. So that's a good thing. And the people that are following me, that's into bodybuilding, into fitness, everybody likes what I'm doing. Everybody, yeah, keep it up. You're doing good. You're looking great. But so, and I don't really know anybody. I don't have like a contact with professionals. So so I don't know about that. But I've seen at the beginning, there was a point when I tagged Sean Baker showing what I did, and then he reposted it, either on Instagram and Twitter. And someone that was following him commented and said, like, whoa, that can't be true because I work out and I have friends that work out, and when I show them this guy like me eating one meal a day and looking like that, they were like, "No, it can't be. You must eat every 3 hours. You must eat like 10 meals a day." And oh,
Right, right.
so
So this is, yeah, this is interesting. This may be interesting for
yeah,
other bodybuilders and other people who do fitness, that
mm,
you actually don't have to constantly eat, you don't have to constantly supply protein, and you can still build muscle or maintain muscle, and you can feel great doing that, right? So,
absolutely.
so that's an important point. Okay, what about, because nowadays we see this huge push, also here where I am in Germany, they want to save the world and save the
Mm,
climate by imposing a higher meat tax. So there already is a tax on meat, and but they want to increase it. And so, what do you think about that? What do you think about people who may say, "Oh my God, you're ruining the planet, you're destroying our future by eating meat"? What do you say to that?
yeah, how about no? That's just
No,
no.
you don't believe it?
No, I don't. There's some like research and a lot of propaganda about that. But if you talk to like real farmers and stuff like that, and if you look at the like the information about the studies, and if you look at the numbers and stuff like that, there's like it doesn't add up. It doesn't work
Right,
because it takes it takes more energy to like grow and to farm fruit and vegetables. It takes more space, it takes more water, and all of that. I mean, that's just basic information. And then you have to harvest it, and then you have to pick out the fruits and vegetables, take it up from the ground, and then you have the pesticides that's killing. So there there goes more stuff into making fruit and vegetables than it goes into like having a cattle ranch.
right. But
And then that classical one about the methane gas, I'm like, okay, the cows and similar animals have been around for like, I don't know, 1 million years or something like that. So if the cows are the problem, if they are the if they're the problems and they've been around for so long, wouldn't we be at the end of the world already?
right. No, it's just, in my opinion, like this idea that by eating less meat that you could influence the climate. I think this is so ridiculous. It's like, there were, like, I think American Indians, they used to do a rain dance. So they would dance in the hope to bring rain, right?
Mm,
And then when science evolved and we became, college educated and such, then we took that ancient rain dance as the prime example of how people can believe the craziest things, right?
yeah.
As a prime example of human superstition, basically,
Mm,
right? And now and now with all those colleges that people are attending, all those science papers, all this science ruling our world, and now the superstition is bigger than ever, because now we not only not only do they sell us that, because basically what they're selling us is the new form of a rain dance, like
mm,
trying to really make us believe that what you put in your mouth could have an impact on the climate. I mean, this is
yeah,
just like, it just blows my mind that people could believe such a thing. Not
absolutely.
not to mention that James Hansen. So James Hansen is one of the climate scientists. He is, some people say, the creator of the global warming idea. Like
Okay.
he had a speech in 1988 or 1989 before U.S. Congress, where he said, the
Mm,
world is about to end because of global warming, da da da, right? And that's how it all started. So even
okay.
James Hansen, the father of global warming, he said that the idea that by reducing meat consumption that this could have an impact on climate is just not borne out by facts. It's just not there. It's like he says, this is not happening. So
No,
even the father of global warming himself,
mm,
and then you take also the fact that whether the cow eats the grass, digests it, and farts it out, or if you
mm,
leave the grass on the ground, it will create exactly the same amount of methane.
yep,
Exactly the same. So, and it's like, so this is like the prime example that politicians will really take any, like the craziest idea, blow it out of proportions, make it look
mm,
like the sky is about to fall, just to position themselves as, hey, we're the saviors of the world.
yeah,
Let's pay more taxes. More taxes, that's the solution to everything.
yeah,
It blows my mind, this thing. It
yeah.
just blows
I
my mind.
mean, just by that information alone makes you go like, something wrong here. But if you take it a step further and think about it like this, like, okay, they're saying if you eat meat, then you're part of the problem. But how does a steak and me eating it and then going to the bathroom taking a shit, how does that impact the climate? What's in the meat and what's in my poop that's going to make the weather warm and the ice in Antarctica, melt? That
No,
doesn't make any sense. And then they say, oh, eat less meat because the cow farts and burps, piss and shit, and that's what make. But okay, if the cow is the problem, but if I kill a cow, I'll stop it from pooping. So if the problem is a cow pooping, if I kill it and eat it, then I stop the problem. Wouldn't that be helping the environment? But no, you're supposed to keep the cow alive, keep it pooping, keep feeding it, just don't eat it. Then the ice will melt if you eat a cow. But as long as it's alive, it's okay. But as long as it's alive, you're saying that it's because it farts and poops. That's the
yeah,
problem. Like what? It's mind-boggling to think
yeah,
that people, react to this. Oh yeah, it's a problem with the cows. That's the problem. Keep them alive, but the problem is they're pooping. It's like catch-22. And not only that, but I also been thinking about it, the propaganda about this whole meat eating and this whole about the cows. There's like propaganda in the US that they eat too much meat and you need to leave the cows alone, here in Sweden, here in Europe. But what about the other places? What about Asia? What about India? I mean, India is a big place, it's a big country, they have a lot of people. 90% of the entire population are vegan, and they worship the cow. Now, how many cows are in?
vegetarian. I think you mean vegetarian.
Yeah,
I don't think they're vegan.
yeah,
Yeah,
vegan, vegetarian. Sorry if I, but you know what I mean, right? Like they don't eat, especially cow meat. They worship the cow.
right,
But I've never heard anybody go like, "There's too many cows in India. We need to stop that." I never heard about that.
right.
What about Africa? I mean, both India and Africa and like Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, they have like cows and herbivore animals that they use every day, to get from A to B, working animals. But I never heard anybody talk about that, saying the problem is cows. There's too many cows in Africa, there's too many cows in India. They eat, they piss, they shit, and then the methane. No, it's only in America, it's only in Australia, it's only here in Europe.
Right. Yeah,
What the fuck is
there's
going
right. There's more people in India
on?
alone than when you
Yeah.
put West Europe and the US together.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't.
So how comes there's no like information about how many cows live in India?
Right,
And
right,
why doesn't anybody point the finger and say like, India, there's a problem. There's too many cows. They're the one that's farting. They're the one that's pooping. That's where the methane gas come from. Nope.
right.
It's only
Yeah,
here in Scandinavia and Europe and. So it's like
yeah.
very they. Yeah,
No,
I don't
it's
understand.
the most ridiculous idea. It's really they're telling us it's the equivalent of a rain dance. And you know what? I
Mm,
think it's more likely that when you do a rain dance,
mm,
that it will start to rain than that you can influence the climate by not eating meat. You know,
yeah,
you may be more
yeah,
successful with a rain dance than by not eating.
absolutely.
Uh,
And not, but then I don't understand, like, okay, like what's so special about a cow? Because I mean, it eat grass, but so does an elephant, so does an hippopotamus, so does a rhino, and they're like 10 times as big. So I mean, if you compare a cow shit to an elephant shit, wouldn't the elephant shit be more, like a bad thing for the environment? I never heard anybody like going out and say we need to stop like elephants from pooping. That's why the climate change. Stop elephants from pooping. We need to stop. I never heard that. You ever heard about that? I never heard
no,
about that.
yeah,
But
no.
cows, well, what?
Yeah, it's the craziest thing. It's but I don't know. Few years ago it was the SUVs, the sport utility vehicles that were causing climate change.
Uh,
And then not now no one talks about the SUVs. Now somehow it fizzled out or they stopped damaging the climate. I don't know.
uh,
So it's probably gonna be like one of those ideas that just fizzles out because it's just too crazy. Maybe, who knows?
it's the same like with cars. Like, okay, cars are bad for the environment, are bad for humans. Okay, but nobody talks about the factories that makes the cars. Even if they make like an electric car and it's supposed to be good for the environment because there's no gas and all of that stuff, but the factories that make the electric cars, they're still the same factory that make gas cars and diesel cars.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, okay, it's okay, like same factory putting out the same, using the electricity, using gas and whatever to, keep the lights on, keep the machines going. They didn't buy new machines, nothing like that. The factory is still the same. It's just they pump out a different product.
Right.
And everybody, yay, we got electric cars. Now we're going to save the environment. But what about the factory that made it's and what about cars? I mean, come on. How many cars are manufactured each week, each day? How many cars are there per person around the world? How many people use a car every day?
Mm.
But no,
Right.
it's the cow. It's the cow. It's they fart, they piss and poop, and that's why the
Right.
polar bears are starving. Yep.
Yeah. No, it's just total craziness. Well, Paul, I'm out of questions, so I hope this will serve as an inspiration for other people who have asthma, especially children. I think because asthma can
Yeah,
be the worst in children. Um,
absolutely.
so, to have a way to manage it and to be completely symptom free, I think this is very useful information.
Absolutely. And the way that I grew up, I didn't have, like I didn't eat sugar all day long and I didn't eat fast food and junk food. So, you know, most people they put the blame on that. Look at kids today, they eat like junk food and blah blah blah. They always have candy. And yes, that is part of the problem. But look at me. I was, raised like in a home, loving home where it was cooked food, homemade food, whole food every day and I still had asthma.
That's interesting.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, some say there may be a connection to antibiotics and the
mm,
gut biome, but you
absolutely.
said you don't have a recollection that you had any antibiotics as a child.
No,
So so that's really interesting. So thank you very much for doing this, and yeah, I wish you much success. And okay, do you want to mention your Instagram or your YouTube channel for people who want to check you out?
yeah, it's Polyvision Fitness on Instagram, on Twitter, and on what am I saying? On YouTube, it's just Polyvision.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, if I've I'm gonna do another like that meat heals thing. You write your story. I'm gonna do another one because I've had sleep apnea for 10 years, if not more, and that is also gone. I had a CPAP machine that I used every day for at least 10 years. Went carnivore, can't use the machine anymore.
That's amazing. So asthma gone, psoriasis gone, sleep apnea gone.
Yep.
You lost weight.
Yeah.
You got a six pack. Well, you probably
Yeah.
got one
So
before, but maybe now it's more visible. I can imagine.
so
Um,
it's been like a crazy journey. Just making that small, like eating just meat and eggs, and all of those, all of those symptoms, all of those problems, like gone.
Went away. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.